Hi there, Vibe Gardeners. Welcome to another edition of Vibe Gardening Inform Edition, where it's time for us to do final measurements of my temperature differential on tomatoes to see if it made a real difference in stem thickness. Now, with that said, let's go. All right, guys. So a little recap on what's been going on. If you guys remember this guy here, this is the guy that one of the extra tomatoes that got germinated because if you remember from the germination path, all 12 of my seeds germinated, which is way more than I can handle in my garden. I only need 5. So yeah, we got 7 extras. And so out of the extras, I didn't really take care of a lot of them, but I decided I was going to take this one here. And I'm going to see if using something called negative temperature differential or having basically warmer nights than daytime would actually make the stem thicker, which is something that's been published in academic research on tomatoes. Actually, the result of that, science says that if it's actually warmer at night, the stem gets thickened, it's not as tall. But if it is actually colder at night, which is your normal behavior of tomatoes, it gets taller faster. Well, we saw both on this thing, so we'll see in a minute. But the reality is that I'm not really super concerned about how tall it's getting. I'm really concerned about how thick it's getting. Now, so what I've done here is I brought my handy dandy digital caliper, and we're actually going to fully measure how thick this thing is and be able to do what we need to do with it. So to give you guys a little bit of, I guess, history of what happened to this tomato, a lot has happened. As you can see, it's getting propped up, I don't know if you guys see this, by a stake here, a bamboo stick. And the reason why this has to happen was I put it on my fire pit thinking that it would be okay. But what happened was a large windstorm came, blew this thing off, and it took a massive hit on the stem, which made it very soft. And so basically, I had to basically put it on a stake. I never could take the stake off anymore to keep going. So it definitely had a physical trauma to the stem at the very core of it, like right near the dirt. So it definitely took a hit. Another funny thing that happened was it actually started growing fruit, as you can see from the close up here. You can see that. Yeah, there we go. It's got quite a bit of assortment of fruit now. That too was also probably going to end up swing the results quite a little bit, in that it is definitely not normal for this type of thing to happen. And I did not stray from the Miracle-Gro all-purpose, which when in a pot like this, when garden pot, the root mass is definitely crowded, root bound. So I have to give these guys some fertilization to keep them basically from becoming unhealthy. And so before I give away the final 2 plants here, I'm going to measure them and see how well they do before, well, tomorrow or in a day or two, I'm going to be putting this in ground into my clay soil to see, well, if we can really make it. It's going to go into a half compost, half native dirt hole. And that's going to be another really interesting little survival experiment to see how well it does. But it's already fruity, so it's interesting, and hopefully it's going to be happy where it's going. All right, guys, for accuracy, I'm going to be using millimeters to get more numbers to do rounding. So here's the measurement of this tomato at about 15.5 millimeters or so. This is one of its remaining siblings. It's actually one of the thicker ones, and as you can see, it's already measuring significantly weaker at 10.9. This is actually one of the healthiest ones, and it actually got so heavy, I had to give this guy a little stake as well. This one's coming at 11 millimeters. So out of curiosity, I'm also going to measure the ones in ground that I transplanted in mid-April that survived quite a bit of cold. As you can see, the in-ground situation gave it a lot thicker stem at 24 millimeters. There's another one of the in-ground ones. It's measuring at about 14.5 millimeters. And this one came in at over 21 millimeters. Here with basically the thinnest one outdoors, it's about 13.5 millimeters. And our final one is coming in about 14 even. All right, so as you guys can probably see that this guy right here with the temperature differential absolutely outperformed its peers. Now the big takeaway also is the sun probably has a lot to do with it, and it's been getting a lot more actual real sun than its siblings because a lot of them stayed in the basement under the 70-watt shop light, or two of those, for their whole entire life until pretty much about 2 weeks ago. This guy I've been bringing out during the day, during the colder temperatures, and then taking it in the house for 70 degrees Fahrenheit temperature every night for that whole entire duration. So this guy has also been getting better sun. But so I basically took it also up against the actual in-ground tomatoes, which has been having good nutrition, as well as being basically facing the brutal outdoors. Those had mixed results. Two of them has outperformed it, but three of them actually underperformed compared to this one. So I think the one takeaway is that I think what this does prove is that I think with this data, even though it's small sample size, negative temperature differential does actually provide a thicker stem, given the situation, though there's a lot of variables that we kind of muddies the water quite a bit. Like for instance, definitely there is light quality difference between real sun and shop light. Also, this guy did suffer an injury and had to be staked up to keep it from falling over. So those definitely sway the results a little bit, but I do think it is enough data for us to see that the research proved itself, and this guy is significantly thicker than its peers, and as a matter of fact, even beat out more than half of the outdoor crew. So hope you guys learned something about tomatoes with this, and until next time, keep vibing and keep gardening. Let's go.